what I am doing is I am going to cut a groove into the board so that I can slide the steps in, providing more weight support because I like to eat.
We're two hitchhikers. We met while hiking Mount Baldy with mutual friends, wasted no time, got engaged on a frozen alpine lake, got hitched, and have been adventuring together since. We're embarking on a new adventure of living big in a tiny home. Let's see how this goes.
Adventure awaits.
Almost 2 months ago, before Ruben got called up to fire camp, we had made a trip up to Oregon to pick up some nice lumber at one of the big box stores. We finally had the capacity to build ourselves a proper ladder to get up to our loft.
Got all our nice wood all wrapped up.
It's wrapped like a little baby.
Now, when we first moved in here, the way we accessed our sleeping loft was to use a telescoping ladder. And at the time, we had a subfloor, which was a little bit tacky, so there were no issues. The day finally came for us to install our vinyl flooring, and in my eagerness to get things set up upstairs, I didn't wait for Ruben to secure the telescoping ladder, and I slipped, fell, and tore a major muscle. I was laid up for quite a few weeks, and poor Ruben had to really take care of me, but he secured the ladder, and this is how we have been getting up and down from the loft since then. It's crazy to look back to just last year and see what the house actually looked like before we made all of these improvements. But here we are today, and it's finally time to build that library ladder and get it installed. I'm excited! It's happening! So this is what we have been using to hold our ladder in place. We use a copper bar through the ladder, and that's been our security blanket.
Does it fit? It fits. Hooray. So I am installing the railing for our ladder, and I am trying to position it exactly where it's supposed to be. We're putting in our telescoping ladder. This is the rail that's going to be holding our ladder in place. It's going to go left then right. And then the mechanism that we purchased is going to allow us to push it up and slide it to the side. And hopefully it fits. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Steps are going to only be 8 inches.
And the weather is turning quite chilly at night, so it's time to start taking out these tomato plants. Now, they're not quite fully ripe, and I still have a lot of green tomatoes on here, so we were told to actually take the entire vine out and let them ripen by hanging them out to dry, so I'm doing just that. Now, I am a little concerned with some birds getting to them with them hanging here outside in the sun, so I'm going to put some of that deer netting around it and, well, just hope for the best. The hatch green chili is still growing, so I'm roasting and preserving as I go along.
Go up. There's that.
And that's when it's put away.
Yep. Needs to go down. It's gonna be pretty steep. What I am doing is I am going to cut a groove into the board so that I can slide the steps in, providing more weight support because I like to eat. So the step is going to go in here. It's going to be held in.
Ruben began using the miter saw to make these initial cuts, but even with the guide, he found that the depth of the cuts was not consistent, so he ended up just using the circular saw and found that he had a little bit more control over that. The reason it's important for these cuts to be consistent is not just for consistency's sake, but for safety reasons. If the cuts are too deep, that renders the ladder a little less stable and we could thus fall going up or going down, and we don't want to deal with that one again.
Dun, dun, dun. So the steps are going in. And I am using these pre-drilled 1/4-inch bolts, making it go in. And hopefully it works, man. Seriously, I still don't know what I'm doing. Let's see, did I go the right direction? Please line up. Hooray! it's the correct angle. Oh, thank God.
I would have done it backwards.
Oh.
I would have done everything perfectly, every angle except just backwards. Oh.
Just gotta make it fit now. this is steep. So the plans that I copied off the interweb put this at a 12-degree slope, which is somewhat comfortable, but it will not work with the hardware that we got, because that is going to put this hardware who knows? It might work. I don't know.
Let's just try it.
Let's
But
just try it.
does it slide in and fit in there? Oh, that's gonna make life so much easier to have it out of the way.
I have to change the approach angle, and I have to modify the hardware for it to swing higher. Swing lower and swing higher. I can do that. There's an adjustment. It was ending earlier, and it was like, I don't know how to describe it. This basically just lets it sit lower. So because it allows it to sit lower now, I can get the better approach angle for us to climb. So it's not going to be as steep. I need to go higher. This. That's the 12-degree slope. So
She's tucked away.
tucked away, spools out. Goes like this.
So that's so cool that you were able to change the bolt to adjust the angle.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a game changer for me. That telescoping ladder we had before, it worked great. Functionally, it worked great. However, we have pantry storage back in here, and when we tucked the telescoping ladder away, we would have to unhook it, and then I'd have to kind of scooch it in there, and then if I needed something in there, I'd have to scooch it back out. It was just a kind of a pain, and so I avoided doing that, so the ladder just always stayed here in the center. But now we can pull this out when we need to get upstairs. Look how easy that rolls. And still getting used to it, but slides out. You can lock the wheels down here. And I can go up. So I can go all the way up and all the way down. Now this incline is steeper than the telescoping ladder, than that range that we had, but these steps are wider. And so far, I mean, it seems okay. We are going to put some handles in here, but we just didn't have enough time to do that this weekend. But honestly, this is making my life so much easier. And I do like to put it away because this is a tiny home. So every available space just makes it, there we go, feel that much wider. Oh, I didn't put it back far enough. I'm still learning this. And it goes in there. And refrigerator door opens all the way, closes. So we're good. Well, our harvest season is quickly coming to a close here. The days are still nice and pleasant, but the nights are starting to get chillier and chillier. So I'm trying to ripen as much as I can, but there are some things that I'm just having to make a call on and pull them out and then get the beds ready for next year's planting. But I have had a few people actually reach out to me and ask, okay, I don't know anything about gardening. What can I plant here? I grow a lot of green onions. Now, I primarily grow a ton of green onions because, well, we like them, but also because they are an onion garlic family. It's an allium, I believe it is. These are deer repellents and they seem to help. So do marigolds. Marigolds are actually very awesome to have in gardens as a pest repellent. But green onions are one of the easiest things to actually sort of propagate just from store-bought green onions. So I'm going to show you really quickly how I do it and also how I preserve it in case you are interested in that. So I start with just a single bunch of green onions. I buy organic because I don't want any pesticides or herbicides getting into my soil, but you can buy what you like. And I also just take off any of the dried pieces or compromised pieces on the green onion, so I have just good healthy stalks to start with. And I just start chopping them up. So right about the spot where the green starts turning to white, I stop. And just get a clean ramekin or glass jar, fill it up with a little bit of cool water, and place your little white pieces of green onion with the root still attached into the clean water. Some will have roots and some won't, but the ones that don't have roots should develop some in a couple of days. Place them in a sunny location and make sure to change the water every day. And as you can see here, they are starting to sprout a little bit. This is 3 days later, so I change the water every day and I've got this going, and probably in about 4 more days I will just plant this. Oops, I took 2 out. Right there, just plant it and they just start doing their thing. I also do the same thing with leeks. So this I probably started 4 days ago. And you just have to make sure you change the water every day, otherwise it gets slimy and the roots can rot and then your plants will die. Just keep the soil moist and they will grow. Harvest as much as you please, as often as you want. Now this bunch of green onions is what I cut off from our garden. As you can see, they're quite a bit bigger than the store-bought. For preserving, I just cut them down the same way I did with the store-bought onions. Now just for comparison, the little onion here is the one from the store and the big one is the one from my garden. Now I don't do anything to these onions, I just let them grow. You want as much airflow as possible with the green onions, so try to get them as much on a single layer as possible. So when all of the onions are chopped, I place them on a piece of parchment paper and onto a baking sheet. Now I don't own a dehydrator, so I dehydrate in my oven. If you have a dehydrator, do your thing. But if you don't, what I typically do is put it on the lowest setting that my oven will be able to handle, which is 180 degrees, and I prop it open. I personally use a wine cork. It is the perfect amount, and I just let it dehydrate all day long. Now you do want to make sure that you leave that oven door propped open just a little bit so the moisture can escape. The focus is to dehydrate these and not to actually bake these. This is why we're doing it at a very low temperature. We want the flavor and nutrients preserved. After about 8 hours, my onions are dry and crunchy and very brittle. I personally store them in a mason jar, but you can store them however you like. These can even be powdered down using a coffee grinder or a food processor to make your very own onion powder. Nasty chemicals and preservatives not included. Well, family, that wraps up this week's update. We're starting to get things done around here. Can you tell I'm happy to have Ruben back? This coming week, I'll be splitting more wood and actually planting our hardneck garlic. Check back next week for those updates and whatever else we get done around here. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Ruben.